Chat, I kind of wanted to watch this video about speed limits. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's called Do Speed Limits Even Work Anymore? And I'm kind of just like, I feel like no, right? Like, people still get pulled over for speeding, but who actually listens to the speed limit for the most part?
Sweet, stinky speed. Let's be honest, it's one of the things all car enthusiasts live for. But that pesky speed limit, what a buzzkill, right? The fact is, speeding is the most common law broken in the US, with almost half of drivers saying they've exceeded the speed limit by 15 miles an hour or more in the last month.
Was I speeding, officer?
I mean, on my way over here to the studio to film this very video, I was speeding. But so was everyone else on the road. So it begs the question, do speed limits actually do anything? Many states have asked that in the past few years.
That's a good question. Like, when everybody is speeding on the highway and you're trying to go the speed limit, everybody's passing you or cutting you off because you're going too slow after they pass you. And it's like, bro, I'm just trying to follow the rules. Why is everyone getting, like, mad at me for following the damn rules? And so it makes you not want to follow the rules anymore.
With wildly varied results, and it turns out one of the biggest opponents of higher speed limits isn't the police. So buckle in and let's get started quicker than you can say.
The need for speed. Love that game series.
Now, as an American, obviously I want to ignore the rest of the world and just discuss US data. But there's one of the best examples the world has ever seen for this very subject,
the Autobahn.
Just sitting right there enjoying a beer and a brat. The Autobahn.
Yup.
Primarily championed by everyone's most popular time travel assassination target in 1933, the Autobahn is a network of over 8,000 miles of federal controlled access highways in Germany, not dissimilar from our own highway system in the US. The Autobahn has become a concrete haven of automotive freedom. It's most famous for having no speed limit on 70% of its network, denoted by this sign.
After this, I'm gonna turn the AC off. It's getting fucking cold in here.
Right here. The fastest speed ever traveled on the Autobahn was in 1938 by racer Rudolf Caracalla, who went a blazing 268 miles an hour.
What?
Later that day, another racer named Baron Rosemeyer tried to break the record and died during an attempt, which doesn't look great for the speed limits don't matter theory. Also in 2009 on the A2 near Hanover, the Autobahn was the site of a 259 car pileup. The number one cause of accidents on the Autobahn is speed.
Shit.
Number two, tailgating. Tailgating done by people who want to speed. On the surface, that might make it seem like a speed limit would prevent deaths, but actually less than 10% of fatal accidents in Germany happen on the Autobahn. As a matter of fact, that 259 car pileup I just mentioned—
the amount of people I see on a daily basis just driving to work, like me just driving to work and seeing somebody tailgating somebody else because they want to go past them. Or like there's clearly a left lane that's open. They'll go to the right lane where there's more cars to pass the person in the middle. And it's like, the left lane is the fast lane. It's always been like that. It always will be like that. Why are you going to the right lane to go past someone and then cut them off passive aggressively after you pass them because they're going too slow? What the hell is wrong with people?
It shockingly resulted in 0 fatalities. Plus, when you compare the Autobahn's numbers to US numbers, they're all in metric. What the hell's that about? The Autobahn's—
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where? It was the perfect moment.
Fatality rate is 2.7 deaths per billion kilometers driven, while the US rate on highways is almost doubled at 4.5 fatalities. But it's not just the lack of speed limits. There are a couple other factors that go into making the Autobahn so safe for drivers. One, driver education and traffic laws are much stricter in Germany, with a focus on reckless driving and lane discipline, like only passing in the left lane. But while stricter driving laws may contribute to road safety, the biggest reason we see such a difference in the US is
why is the scroll ability not working? It's not working anymore. Why?
Infrastructure. Germany spends roughly $625,000 per mile on the Autobahn's upkeep, while the US spends about 10% less. And that difference really grows when you look at how that money is spent. Yep, that patented German efficiency is on full display.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like it's scary to speed in the United States, because you'll just hit a pothole and fly off the side of the fucking highway. Because there's just one random ass hole in the middle of a highway, and it's like, why is that there and why hasn't it been fixed?
When it comes to Autobahn maintenance. For starters, they have high upfront costs as they tend to invest more in long-term road quality, and this reduces the long-term expenses. The Autobahn is paved with concrete, whereas here in the US, we opt for the cheaper, less durable asphalt that results in needing more repairs and resurfacing over time. Simply put, maintenance in the US tends to be reactionary and not preventative like in Germany. But aside from the
That's what pisses me off about this country. I'm not gonna lie. Like most countries are preventative in almost everything. Everything in the US is based off of reactions. Even our fucking YouTube streaming, Twitch streaming. Look at what I'm doing right now. Anyways, that's besides the point. My point was our code of conduct, our rule books, our safety handbooks are all written in blood because somebody did something stupid or got killed or got injured because they were doing something that they didn't know that they weren't supposed to be doing.
Costs and practices of proactive
and it's like, why can't, like he's saying, why can't we have proactive thinking to be like, hey, this is probably not safe. Like, hey, if there's a problem with the top of an airplane, maybe don't physically climb the airplane to try and get up there to fix it. Maybe you should use a piece of equipment that's created specifically for that purpose to get up there and fix it. Just a random example I thought of in my head.
The US relies mainly on state governments to handle the roads in their jurisdiction as they see fit. There are common requirements set by the Federal Highway Administration, but different states have different priorities on how to spend that money, which means that the quality of the roads can change wildly as you cross state lines. So, with the lack of highway continuity between states...
That road? What the hell happened?
As you cross state lines. So, with the lack of highway
that looks
continuity
like a Kansas
between
City
states
road.
And a tendency to save now and spend later, the Autobahn seems much safer than our own highways regardless of speed. It also explains why the height of German engineering may be the diesel engine and ours is duct tape. The German Autobahn might have less fatalities than the American highway system, but that doesn't mean an American Autobahn is a good idea. And
no.
Yet, across...
No, that's a horrible idea. That is a horrible idea. You know how much that would have to get maintenance on? And people are dumb as fuck that they're gonna run it straight into the maintenance people that are trying to fix the road that's dangerous to drive on.
America, speed limits have been steadily rising for decades. As unbelievable as it seems today, there was a time when the US federal government successfully established a national speed limit. In 1974, highway speeds were limited to 55 miles per hour in an effort to conserve energy during the oil crisis.
Speed limit, 55 miles an hour.
Environmentalists estimated this
That is crazy. It used to be 55? What?
reduce fuel consumption by over 2%, which honestly hardly sounds worth it. In reality, fuel consumption only dropped by less than half that. What did drop almost immediately was the number of fatal crashes on highways. So the national 55 miles per hour limit endured in most of the country until 19...
Was the door on that car not locked?
What
Because why did that person just fly out the door?
Almost immediately was the number of fatal crashes on highways.
I get it was a dummy, but why did it just fly out like that?
So the national
Did it not have seatbelts or a door lock?
55 miles per hour limit endured in most of the country until 1995. After that, it was repealed by Congress to give states the authority to set their own limits. And what happened then? Highway fatalities continued to drop until reaching a 40-year low in 2014. Of course, cars themselves also got dramatically safer over that time, and some have argued, including police, that raising speed limits is just updating the law to be more in line with how people are already behaving in the real world.
I promise you, I'm doing the speed limit.
It turns out it's surprisingly tricky to directly connect speed limits with overall road safety, especially on highways and major arterial routes. Which brings us to how states come up with—
Was that a 2-lane road with no road on the other side of it? Is that how it is in other countries?
speed limits in the first place. It's not a random number they just pull out of a hat, even though it seems like that sometimes. States actually set speed limits off of what is called the 85th percentile rule. Basically, engineers do a speed study on a particular stretch of road using radar guns and those little pneumatic tubes you see laying across the street sometimes. Yes, that is what those are for. The engineers determine the speed at or below which 85% of drivers naturally travel while in reasonable driving conditions. Pretty simple. Drivers pick a speed based on the conditions, engineers set a speed limit based off of that driving speed, but then tell drivers not to exceed it. So while you would think that speed limits would actually be going down, the fact that they're going up proves just how many people break this law all the time. But then you have to wonder, if half of drivers are already exceeding the speed limit, does increasing that speed
All right,
help
but
alleviate—
the city I grew up in, or the town I grew up in, they would use those speed meter things that say, hey, you're going over the speed limit. They would just use it as a way of policing people without, like, getting them in trouble. Just being like, hey, you're going over the speed limit, by the way. They never used them for testing what the speed limit should be or anything like that. It was always just, hey, by the way, you're going over the speed limit. Maybe you should stop.
alleviate some existing problems. Several studies would in fact agree with you. It turns out the real safety risk isn't necessarily higher speeds, it's speed variability. That means the difference in speed between the fastest and slowest car on the road. We see this in racing all the time. WEC hypercar racing is partially as dangerous as it is because there are also much slower GT3 cars on the track at the same time. Whereas NASCAR cars are all roughly doing the same speed, so they can drive real close to each other, and they almost never—
And a terrible crash coming to the finish.
This is a big wreck.
Okay, maybe NASCAR is a bad example, but speed
I
variability
don't get how
isn't—
people can be, like, so comfortable being that close while pieces of a car are flying off directly at them.
Okay, maybe NASCAR is a bad example, but speed variability isn't just about obstacles and reaction time. There's also psychology to it. Higher speed variability causes tailgating, which leads to road rage, or lane changes, which makes congestion so much worse, potentially leading to more aggressive driving. Research by groups like the Federal Highway Administration
What was
and the
that
Institute of
from? Not Need for Speed, Fast and Furious?
Transportation Engineers shows that increasing the speed limits can actually reduce speed variability and road rage incidents that lead to unpredictable driving environments without significantly impacting
Just
safety.
an incident.
That looks like a win to me. If everybody is speeding, it's a lot safer than if only half the people are speeding, which we already know they do. And there's also an economic and environmental positive. You've all looked down at your MPG reading and noticed that it's worse when you have to accelerate. If you're able to maintain a constant speed, your overall fuel economy is better and emissions are lower. If you have
Okay,
to keep
but everyone who ever tries to follow the speed limit when everyone else is speeding, and then they decide, I'm gonna stop following the speed limit because literally no one around me is, they're always the one that gets pulled over and ticketed for speeding. It's every time. Every single time. There's no exception.
braking and accelerating due to speed variability, that person camping in the fast lane is actually causing the stack of cars behind them to burn more gas. So it's settled then. Speed variability is the real enemy, not actually speeding itself, right? If only it were that easy. It turns out that when you take speed variability out of the equation and everyone is driving the same speed, there is still a negative effect to raising that speed. And that's because speed variability is not just about the difference in speed between you and another car, it's also the difference in speed between you and that stationary thing at the side of the road, be it a signpost, a tree, or a person. As Jeremy Clarkson once said,
"Speed has never killed anyone. Suddenly becoming stationary, that's what gets you."
because of this, one of the
True.
biggest opponents by far to increasing speed limits is insurance companies. Big shocker, right? The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety conducted a study in 2019 that looked at speed limit
Speaking of,
increases
when was the
across
last
the
time I
U.S.
paid my
between
car insurance,
1993
bro?
and 2017.
Holy shit.
And found that for
This might be
every
bad.
5-mile-an-hour bump, the fatality rate increased
don't
by
remember.
8.5%. Much of this can be attributed to the increase in stopping distance at high speeds and less reaction time afforded to drivers because of it. Now granted, technological advances have decreased the average stopping distance over time. Things like anti-lock brakes and better materials and tires have been shown to reduce stopping time by 10 to 20%.
Oh, it's not due till the
each.
14th.
But the rules have to be written for the
What the hell?
lowest common denominator, and not
Okay.
every commuter is running Continental tires. Today's video is brought to you by Continental Tire. Listen, I know how it is. Tires are the last thing on your shopping list, but finding the right set,
Sorry, but
that's
I'm
a
skipping.
game to a reduction in CO2, NOx, and particulate matter. When the US did a counter study on increasing the speed limit, the trend continued as emissions rose accordingly. So even though, like we said earlier, holding a consistent high speed is better for emissions than constantly accelerating and decelerating, holding a lower speed overall is even better. Look, it's really smart for the analysis of speed limits to be done assuming that people are not gonna follow the laws, but it doesn't make sense to write the laws themselves that way. The speed limit is designed to keep the worst drivers on the road somewhat safe, even if we all know we can go a little bit quicker. Although I do like the German method of focusing more on reckless driving and lane discipline than actually punishing speeding. That's kind of how it works here in California. Pretty much no one drives the speed limit, but you only get pulled over for it if you're driving like a jerk. So do speed limits work? It depends on the context and what exactly we mean by that. Speed
Yeah.
limits do regulate the flow of traffic and provide a barometer by which we judge safe driving. Lower speed limits, provided people stick to them, do reduce injury risk in crashes, make surface streets safer for pedestrians, and can lower emissions. But that caveat is key. When a speed limit is too low, at least as judged by the majority of drivers on a given road, it can also make traffic more chaotic, more congested, and raise the overall chance of a crash by increasing speed variability. Ultimately, speed limits do more good than harm when they're set correctly.
How did that even
As
happen?
annoy-
Why was everyone going so slow? Like, I get the driver who was recording his perspective because they knew it was gonna happen. You could tell that they could see that that was about to happen, so they slowed down. But what was
more
going on in
congested
this
and
video?
raise the overall chance of a crash by increasing speed variability. Ultimately, speed limits do more good than harm when they're set correctly, as annoying as they might be to someone
Things like that is why I enjoy watching idiots in cars. Those videos are so fun.
like you, an excellent driver with total confidence in your abilities. When they're not, keep your head on a swivel. I think there's more to be gained from starting to combat speed variability. We've all heard someone say that driving too slow is just as dangerous as driving too quickly, and it turns out that is true.
Must go faster.
I would say that we need to implement a minimum speed limit as much as a maximum, but as we've already established, Americans take the number on the sign as just a vague suggestion.
Just do the speed limit.
That's all for me. I hope you guys like this video.
No, it's just go 5 over the speed limit. That's the general rule.
Be sure to like and subscribe for more, and I'll be back in 2 weeks with another story. Thanks for watching.
That was a good video. That was a good video. Like and subscribe. I'll see y'all later.